What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 19 of the new Era Sens podcast. You're joined by Brennan, my co-host Nick, Dave, and a real special one, Corwin here from BarDown. So how's everyone doing today?
Not bad.
Excellent. All right. Love it. So we're gathered here on Super Bowl Sunday. It's about 12:30 Eastern time. So a little before the hors d'oeuvres and alcohol has gone into. What's everyone's plans for the Super Bowl? Anyone getting into any big snacks?
Oh, well, I'm vegetarian, so I'm sort of limited on my snacks, but I think I'm going to get that spinach and artichoke dip going tonight and enjoy some Patty Mahomes, win some game.
going for Patty Mahomes, eh?
Yes, sir.
That's the GOAT.
You know what? I've always hated the GOAT, but I gotta go for him now that he's not in New England anymore. I won't even lie to you. But as for food, homemade nachos, homemade chicken wings in the air fryer.
Oh, the air fryer.
The air fryer is big right now. My girlfriend is like all in on the air fryer. It started because our stove is like from the 19th century or something, and then and so now we just go air fryer, and it's one of those combo ones. It looks like a little spaceship. Do you know what I mean? Like there's like an air fryer and what's it? Oh, a pressure cooker and like all those different things.
So Corey, are you cooking like everything in there? Like you have like a lasagna and you're like, oh, we're not using the stove.
100%. Like literally anything you think you could cook or warm up, it's just like put it in that. Like and then like hit one of the settings, and usually it turns out pretty well. So
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could do that tonight, but I have to work because like I'm because like obviously part of our job is not just like making videos and stuff like that, but it's just doing like TSN. Oh, are we losing Dave?
Lost Dave for a minute. That's all right. Welcome back.
Dave, are you back?
That's that Alberta Wi-Fi for everyone.
Sorry,
just not the same.
I have a really bad windstorm, so I don't know.
Oh, all right. Well, that's fine. So big question here. If everyone could have one appetizer for the rest of their life, like one Super Bowl food, the only thing you could eat, and it was you had to cut out either nachos, wings, what would you pick?
Wings all day wings.
Yeah.
Really?
Like how do you get rid of wings?
I mean, so like obviously Nick's gonna feel differently because he's a vegetarian, but like
he loves cauliflower. His cauliflower buffalo.
Yeah, I love the cauliflower bites. They're actually really good. Honestly, it's not the best, but it does.
No, I've had them. They're good because like just put enough sauce on them and like. What's the difference?
Exactly.
I was gonna say wings usually come with celery and carrots. I can give Nick my celery and carrots.
There you go.
I'll take it. No, honestly, you can actually make them pretty crispy, so it's like the texture is kind of similar. It's a bit different, but it does the trick for me. So I guess I'd say that for me, cauliflower bites.
If it's good enough for hot ones, it's good enough for us, right?
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah. Nick, what about like deep fried pickles or something?
Yeah, I'm a fan of those. I like deep fried
zucchini.
Yeah, exactly, zucchini. But honestly, like I said earlier, the artichoke and spinach dip, that's like my go-to. My mom makes a killer one of those, so every year we get together and she makes that. So maybe this year will be different because I can't really go see her, but I'll attempt to make my own and see if it's any good, and maybe I'll stick to it next year.
So we've had this discussion a little bit in the office and stuff like that, and I guess over Zoom now. But the one thing that like I will, so wings and nachos, I would say are the two that like people bring up because there's so much variety. Like you could have wings of any flavor, right? So like you could just have it's so many different, whether it's sweet or savory or whatever it may be. But then also nachos, you can just put whatever you want on nachos. So like you could basically just be like, yeah, I'll have like a steak dinner on top of my nachos, and it's like the best steak in the world. So
potato nachos. Like I've had this debate so many times with people where we're like, okay, like you can only eat one type of food for the rest of your life, what would it be? And it's like sandwiches are just there's infinite amount of sandwiches.
Exactly. You put whatever you want on there. Like
you put 2 pieces of bread on anything, it's a sandwich. That's it.
So you could just take any meal that you like outside of sandwiches and then be like, but also I put bread on it. Poutine sandwich.
What if there was one appetizer you could never eat again and would never be forced to, and wouldn't feel bad eating in front of anyone? What would it be? Mine is anything that has cilantro, because I am one of those
really
soap too.
That's like the best topping on nachos.
You like
really? That's a weird best topping.
For sure. Oh man.
Pigs in a blanket, man.
Oh,
what? Why do you like those?
Oh, dude, ever since I watched the video of Snoop Dogg watching the video of how hot dogs are made, I can't do hot dogs anymore. Any kind of hot dog, I just can't do it anymore. Thanks. Snoop Dogg ruined that, man.
That's one of those things that like never weirds me out is like seeing. Well, so there was one movie that like if I was gonna go like vegan or vegetarian, has anyone ever seen Okja? I think it's pronounced Okja. It's like a
documentary, sir.
No, it's basically just like it's a story about a girl that like it's supposed to seem real, but it's not. Where it's basically like they have these like hippo. It's like set in the future, and they have these like hippos that they give to a bunch of people that are supposed to be like the superfood of the future. But then they grow. It's like I'm going way too deep into this.
Where did you watch this movie?
I think it's on Netflix. Like, so it's the same. It's the same guy that he directed Parasite and stuff like that. So it's the same guy that did that.
Is it Japanese then? Like, is it
all
subtitles? Okay. Yeah, I don't know how to read, but that's no.
It's common in the hockey community, so we're a little tough on the whole book part. But I actually, but now that I say it might not be like in Japanese. Like I think it might. I don't know. I can't remember now. I watched it like 2 years ago.
I'll check it out though.
All I would say is that because like basically it just makes you like the message makes you feel very bad for eating meat. So I would Yeah, so I don't know, but still, wings are really good. And if I was gonna say an appetizer that I would never eat, it would probably just be like guac. Like people just have like guacamole as a appetizer, and I'm like not that interested in that. But
Pico de Gallo, Pico de Gallo is good too.
Oh, I'm super into pico de gallo. That's my number one topping for tacos.
I never had it until I went to Mexico. And now I'm like, salsa, what the hell is salsa? No, go get me some pico de gallo.
Have you had Mexican corn?
Oh, no. Yeah. Like I mean like the fried stuff?
No, it's like they put like it almost is like kind of like a salsa, or I don't know exactly what it is. I'm gonna sound like super ignorant, but like it's but then like a feta cheese, I think, and like it's incredible. It's like my favorite thing in the world. It's basically like corn on the cob, but
I see that. I just searched it up.
It's amazing, but it's like corn on the cob with like cheese and stuff on top of it. Too.
Yeah,
it's like Mexican food is like I think I could just live off of Mexican food. Like there's so much flavor and just the way that they do everything. I've never had something I didn't like.
Mexican food and Italian food are like those are the best foods, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, they got it. That's unreal. So. I guess moving on. Who's our picks for today? What's everyone thinking? Do we have any prop bets going? Do we?
So I don't know if you saw like for the prop bets. You know how people always do like how long the national anthem is.
On Barstool they posted
where someone recorded it. yeah, hilarious.
Like Corwin said that to me. I was kind of impressed that she knew what it was actually.
I think I saw it on Bleacher Report or something. But yeah, just like what commitment. But also like I feel like it's even worse because now the line is they're probably going to put it at like the exact second that it took for in that video, and then you just have to guess over under, and it's going to be like by a hair, right? But,
yeah, we're sure disadvantaged. Bodog always ends up getting my money somehow. So.
I've got KC tonight just because their defense is really good. I think Mahomes, if he can go 2 in a row, that's great, especially defeating Tom Brady. I think that would just cement him as one of the best up and coming. He already is, but I'm on that bandwagon. And I got a bet with my dad 50-50. So $50 on KC for me. And if he wins, I guess I'll pay him for supper one day, but yeah, no prop bets.
I owe you note from Nick. Just to stash it with
I think the Chiefs are going to win, man, but I'm going for the Bucks. I've always wanted to be able to root for Brady, and like I finally could. Like to me, he's always been like demonized. I've never liked him. I'm a 49ers fan. So at the end of the day, I never really liked him, but now I'm like, hey, I can root for you. You know, I've always liked the Bucs, so I'm like, let's go. But I still think Mahomes is going to take it. Sadly, I mean, but at the end of the day, Mahomes the future. He's going to be why a lot of people watch the NFL moving forward, right? But I think Brady is kind of why everybody watches it now.
He might be the only person with better hair than Corwin.
He's got kind of like Matthew Tkachuk hair.
You just kind of have
Oh,
that.
did you see Matthew Tkachuk's new hair, like with the fade
buzz
yesterday?
Yeah. I was a little disappointed.
Brady
Again, I was disappointed it wasn't a mullet. I just expected to see a little flop back there. But I guess like I'm going Chiefs too. But mine is like out of pure hatred. I hate Tom Brady. He has been my entire time as a football fan. He has been the bane of my existence. I grew up a really big Colts fan, so like I just watching Peyton Manning get beat over and over and over by this guy. Like it was basically like Tom Brady and Phillip Rivers, which like this past year as like a Colts fan, I was like right off because like I hope the team looks really good and then Phillip Rivers screws them over somehow and everyone hates him forever because I've never liked Phillip Rivers either. So like, but I hated seeing him as a Colts. I hope Tom Brady loses every game from the rest of his career.
The Phillip Rivers stat, and it's like they'll always do it, and they'll line up like quarterbacks, and it'll be like okay, like Rivers against like Lamar Jackson, and it'll be like all these passing yards, like careers, and then they always finish the ball with, like, children, and it's
got like 9.
And it's like the guy's just building it out.
I think the only person that can beat him is like Antonio Cromartie or something. I feel like he has like 14 kids or something like that.
You know what drove me crazy about Brady though? You know those videos every time they'd win like a Super Bowl or whatever, it would just be him and Gronk in the background just walking, taking a selfie.
We ain't going nowhere.
Like, those videos made me want to grab him through the screen and punch him, although they'd both kick the crap out of me in a heartbeat. But it still made me want to grab him through the screen and shake him. Like, come on.
Like I don't know. I don't hate that stuff as much from Tom Brady. I know like he's got like clearly a good social media team and stuff like that. My hatred purely comes from like he just beat all the teams I liked so many times that it was just like, just get out of here. Like, stop playing and like, just get worse or something. Just have a bad part of your career.
Corwin, how does the kissing his kids on the lips make you feel?
Awful. The worst part about that video is when he goes like he like calls the kid over like this, and I'm like, oh, like it's very cringy. Whatever. Like parents have.
How old are his kids? I've never seen that. How old are his kids?
I've never noticed. They were a bit too old to be kissing.
They're crossing the line. Like 8.
It's weird.
It's just a little weird. Yeah, like
my son.
Whatever.
My son's 2, and I do it to my son all the time. Right?
Yeah,
like he's 2.
That's normal.
Yeah, he's 2.
But it's not 10.
Yeah, and I think in general, probably parents in general are probably think it's less weird no matter what, like at whatever age. Because I know, like, I don't know. I think there's parents that do that. I don't really know.
As soon as your kid goes, hey, Dad, can I have an egg for breakfast? Like, I think at that point, it's a little bit weird, man, when they could fully talk.
Like, once they're talking?
Yeah, like, my kid will, like, say words, but he's not like, hey, Dad, listen, I'm kind of hungry. Can you get me an Eggo, please? Like, it's just, when you get to that point, I think it's a little bit like, okay, but give Daddy a kiss. Like, that's
hey, Dad.
It's just a little weird. Like,
give you a kiss on the lips.
Yeah, like, and again, it's the like how he called him over is the weirdest.
I honestly think that it was just an excuse for like another reason for people to rip on Brady. Like it was like,
oh, for sure,
just a meme reason that we can be like, okay, finally we have something against this guy, or it's just
100%. If Patrick Mahomes or like it's Andrew Luck or like someone that people like did that, like nobody bats an eye. But
yeah, no, definitely. I don't know. I guess like my take for today. I'm a huge Bills fan ever since I jumped into my first table a few years ago.
Nice.
And I think I mean like just after watching Patrick Mahomes make football look so easy against like one of the best defenses, in my opinion, like at least late in the season in Buffalo. Like, man, like that underhand toss. Like at that point, I'm sorry, like you're just fucking with us. Like you're just trying to like rub it in. Like I don't understand. Like
it's just really good.
It's just a cheat code, but yeah, I guess moving on. We are a Sens based podcast. So maybe we can start getting into a bit of Sens trivia here. I guess Corwin, what team do you identify with as a fan?
I'm sorry to say it's the Toronto Maple Leafs. I know people don't like hearing that, but
we all knew it. We just wanted to expose you.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming on to the show, man. It's been a lot of fun. No, yeah.
Sorry, really quick. When I reached out to Darcy Tucker, we had Darcy Tucker on the show. He was so shocked that a Senators podcast invited him on that he had to say yes.
Yeah, because like the prime of his career was basically that like 3-year span where the back to back like playoff series. So yeah, I would imagine Sens fans are not his biggest fan, especially
exactly.
Definitely.
But he was so fun to interview. He was so down to earth, and he was so straight up. And like the guy loves Chris Neil. He loves Chris Phillips. They're friends now and stuff like that. We tried to make a kiss and reunite thing with him and Alfie. It just didn't work out though. but sorry, Brennan, keep going, man. I just wanted to bring that up. Sorry.
No, yeah, for sure. I know it is kind of funny. I mean, like I live in like Kitchener, so I'm just surrounded by Leafs fans everywhere. So it's one of those things. But I mean, I gotta admit, like I watch enough Leafs games that I keep up, and I think that I can hang with the Leaf community. And like my question to you, Corwin, is if you can hang with the Sens community. And
I think so. I know you guys know this because I sent a message about it. But I went to Carleton University. So I lived in Ottawa for four years, I think. And then it's a little bit of a blur, so I don't know the exact timeline. But I was in university. It was a fun time. But yeah, I went to a lot of Sens games and like and a lot of 67s games and. I love Ottawa. So, and actually the weird thing when you said you live in Kitchener and there was a lot of Leafs fans growing up, weirdly enough, when I grew up in Burlington and a lot of my friends were Sens fans, which was like, I don't know, I guess like, cause obviously they had some fun with like
guys.
What?
Those Burlington guys.
I know. I don't know what it was. Like it's like because like from like Hossa to Havlat to like obviously the Spezza, Heatley, Alfredson line, and like they had fun players for a while. So I think like just and then obviously there's always like that in Toronto you either become a Leafs fan or you become somebody that like a fan of somebody that Leafs fans don't like. And at that time, the number one rival was Ottawa. So it was like, if you want to piss off Leafs fans, you become a Sens fan. And so, because like Montreal was less relevant at that time. And yeah.
Well, it's such an odd thing too, because it's like growing up, like you watch Leafs games here. Like that's what's on TV. Like you don't really have much of like, okay, I guess now like with Game Center, there's a little more, like to be able to stream whatever you want. But like I grew up like watching Leafs games with my dad, and my dad's not a Leafs fan. Cheers for Calgary. And like, it was literally just him sitting at the TV, just ripping apart the Leafs for 6 minutes. like it's just like, oh, he's like, look at that defense. Like, we're like, oh, like got 2 goals. Like, well, it was on and on again. And it was like just such a different experience because it's like I'm watching this team every day or like every game that they play and disliking them. But
yeah. I mean, they would have given you a lot of material to laugh at. So it's been a rough many years, but we're getting there.
So even though you're Leafs fans, I've watched a lot of your videos on YouTube and stuff, and you know your stuff when it comes to trivia. I mean, I think you went pretty far in the first overall picks trivia questions. I think you had a good one. You had a good run for the Hall of Fame. You lost last bet, I think, was Winnipeg. But
like Winnipeg doesn't have a real Hall of Famer. Like I guess you can count like Sewanee, but like that's the old franchise technically. So like he would be whatever.
So we have thrown together some rigorous questions, some rigorous Sens trivia for
I love it.
To determine whether or not you can hang. So we'll grade you on your score after.
Okay.
Maybe a little generous. But we've got some pretty tough ones here. So are you ready? I don't know if you want to like take a breather or like I don't know if you're sweating yet or
some water, dry mouth.
Not yet. We'll see. Let's see what the questions are, and then we'll react from there.
All right. Question number 1: which Senators player ate a cheeseburger that was thrown onto the ice during the hamburger?
Curtis Lazar.
Okay.
Oh.
Question. All right, 1 for 1. That was my tough one too. All right, complete the following sentence said by Pierre Dorian.
It's when he's in the interview. It was like his worst period where people were really hating on him. That's gonna kill me.
Come on, Tigger's blood.
4-letter word.
It's so simple. It just works. What are we? Corwin? What are we?
The Ottawa Senators are what? They're a.
All right, man.
Yeah, am I thinking of the right moment where he's like in an interview and somebody's asking him about like the future of the team, and then I can't remember what it is though.
It was we're a team.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of those super obvious moments where you're like, "Thanks, Pierre." Like,
yeah, it's when they when they're doing draft analysis and they're like, "This guy is a hockey player." I'm like, well, I'd hope so, but
like with Columbus picked that Russian guy that they had no stuff on. They're like flipping through their notes. Like,
100%.
I got the next one. What number did Jason Spezza wear in Ottawa before wearing the number 19?
Oh, I can go 91.
That's correct.
That's such a safe play. Like,
I think I remember it, but also, yeah, for sure. Obviously, reversing it because players just do that a lot. But then also, like, was he? No, he'd be older than that. I was gonna say, was he born in 91? But there's no way.
No, I can't remember what year he was born in. Actually,
he'd probably be like 80.
I think he's
86 or 87.
Yeah. I think he was a year younger than Crosby.
Mm-hmm.
I think
so. 86. Yeah, that makes sense. No, actually, wait. He'd have to be. Yeah, he'd be way older than that.
He'd be older. He's the same age as
82 or something.
Same age as Kovalchuk. So he'd be.
Oh, sorry. By the way, no, he was number 39, not 91. Crap!
Damn it!
Sorry.
I'm sitting over here like this is why I was right because I remembered this and this and this. No,
he convinced man. I was like,
the worst thing about that is you were so sure about your answer, and I was like, wait, that's not right, but sure. I'm like, wait a second. So I'm like, I have his Young Guns card, so I had to pull up his Young Guns card, and I was like, no.
Very nice.
So
that's a brutal number, by the way. 39. Ugh.
Every rookie gets a garbage number.
Yeah, but like that's one of the worst. That's like, is there any? Can you name another 39 in the league right now?
I can't think of any. Those probably how many draw passes went the wrong way in one of his scrimmages.
That was like his reputation. It was just the drop pass thing. Everyone always.
They just counted him up, and we're like, all right, 39, Jason.
So, all right. So this is mine. I just want to know, do you know we have 3 first overall picks throughout the history of our franchise? If you can name them, that's all. That would be great. But if you don't, I don't blame you. Some of them are pretty Sens fans don't embrace some of them. So if you can name the top our 3 first overall picks, you'll pass.
Okay, so Chris Phillips.
Yeah.
Then I would say probably I'm just trying to think if he was a first overall pick or not. And I can't remember. Now I'm like mixing up. So I'm gonna say Alexei Yashin, but I can't remember if he got oh wait, no. Before I say that, I'm gonna say Alexander Daigle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Yashin?
No.
So was Yashin an Islanders pick?
No, he went second in 1992.
Overall. That was a good guess, man.
Okay.
Yeah. No, the other one is Brian Berard.
Oh, true. He's legend. I should have known that one. Brutal.
Yeah. That was a tough. But honestly, we'll give him that one. Like the fact that he got Alexander Daigle, that's all you know as a Sens
legend.
Yeah, as a Sens legend. I got it. What here? This is an easy one. What country was Danny All-Star Heatley born in?
Germany.
There we go.
Yeah, gotta know that one. He's yeah. I mean, like I'm like I hope so bad Germany gets good at hockey. That'd be cool. I feel like they'd be a good hockey country. So with like, obviously I'm sure you guys are hoping the same because Stützle and but like with him, Draisaitl, Cahoon, like I know what is it, Ryder and
Maurice Sider too, and
or sorry, I said Ryder.
Tobias.
I'm thinking
Reichel.
Reichel.
Reichel, yeah. John Paterka or Jason Paterka.
So I don't know how I was at the World Juniors for in the bubble, and like, well, I can give you a couple good. So one, I'd say most impressive person of the tournament, obviously like Zegras. I think everyone agreed that he was just like disgusting, but it was on a. I was like throughout the tournament very impressed with Sanderson. I thought he was like, he's such a good skater. I thought he made a bunch of really smart plays, and so I mean I think you guys have a good defenseman there, and then obviously Stützle was gross, and he's off to a tough start in the NHL, but I mean as I think we've seen from kind of recent top picks, I think that's like something to be expected.
Yeah. Look at Lafreniere this year, right? But
and like even Jack Hughes last year, and then now Jack Hughes looks gross this year, and it's just like
look at Connor David, he sucks too.
Yeah, and he was so bad in his first year.
So how was the bubble? Like, how was that whole situation for you? Part of like media, was it like really restricted to what you can do?
Like in some ways, but also not in other ways. Like definitely there's less player access than normal. Cause like normally, obviously you can kind of go talk to them, go into locker rooms after. I was the only locker room I was able to go into was the US one at the end when they won. And then then I was allowed to go in them when people weren't in them. So I could go into like Team Canada's locker room or whatever and just wander around. That was like in one of my videos. Like my favorite thing about being there was I could just walk around and
just stomp on the Oilers logo too. Just while you're at it.
No, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's a beautiful locker room too.
I watched some of your videos from that, man. Like, so I live in Edmonton. Like I moved to Edmonton.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, in 2012, and one of the things like you got a lot of the information here, right, about what's going on in the bubble and stuff like that. So yeah, I watched some of your. I think it was really cool, man, that you got to go in there. I was pretty jealous.
I was hyped. That was like because I think they were. It's one of those things where they approach it kind of like cautiously, because like obviously there's parts of it that suck. Like I missed Christmas and New Year's with my friends and family. Not that like it's like anybody was going to have any big like shindigs or anything anyways. Because
once in a lifetime opportunity though.
100%. Like that and for me, that was like immediately I was like, can I go? And then they sent me and yeah, it was very cool. I thought, like I was saying, one of my favorite things there was just the sticks and stuff. I'm like a geek for gear and sticks, and so just kind of just being able to like walk around and look at everybody's tape jobs and look at all the different curves, and like I would
just one strip.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, like that one was so cool, and like stuff like that. And then so him and Arthur Kaliev he's like a Kings prospect on the American team, and he just amazing. I love when they just have unique tape jobs in these tournaments, and then so it just worked out that like those are probably immediately too well. So one, I think people overrate how weird Stützle's is. Like it's I get it. It looks a little bizarre because he raises the tape up, but like it's pretty much the Panarin tape job, and like. So, but either way, it's cool. I like a guy with a unique tape job, so that's cool, and I like that he does it like in the all white tape, and it's just like a cool thing to have personally, because like I feel like now as a Sens fan, any kids growing up are just gonna like use that tape job 100%.
For sure.
There was like there was a thing on Twitter where it was like without saying words, describe his tape job, like Tim Stützle's, and I took a picture of my 2-year-old's painting, and I. I'm like amateur, but it wasn't really. It was just fun. But yeah, I mean, there's some weird ones out there, but I mean, whatever works. Obviously, it works for Timmy, right? So I mean,
yeah,
keep doing it.
Yeah. So I gotta ask, how much money did you put on that 50-50? Because like, holy shit.
So people, I got it one time. I'm not a big lottery guy because like It's weird. I have two ways of thinking about it. When I haven't bought the ticket yet, I think like there's no way I'm ever going to win that. Like the odds are so bad that like why am I throwing money into that? But then I buy a ticket and I'm like, okay, well, how am I going to use my money? And like I'm immediately like planning how to win it. So like, and then I'm so disappointed when I lose that I'm like, God, I thought it was like for sure. So it's a dangerous game for me where I like I get too into it, and then so but I did it once. I did the one on the 31st, I think, which was like the day with the Canada-Finland game and the US-Sweden game, I think. And then that was like a lot.
Were you allowed to? Like, I thought you had to be a resident of Alberta.
No, you just have to be in Alberta.
To claim your prize, you got to be in Alberta. Okay, cool. Yeah.
When Corwin, I love that you said that, because like one of my like really good friends when I was living in Alberta, we used to go to some Calgary games and we would get 50-50 tickets, and like it was just an ongoing joke that we would like go down, like buy our 50-50 in like the first period, and then the whole game we would just talk about what we're gonna buy together. We would go on a play, and then someone would like cut us off or like scream and like annoy us, and we're like, oh, it's fine, they're not getting 30 grand tonight. We were just like, they're not like us, and like we would be like, oh, more beers, like dude, we're getting 30 grand, like
so
no worries, like we can spend whatever we want.
Which Hawaiian island do you want to go to first?
Yeah.
Actually, dude, Dave, tell them your boss won it twice, I think, huh? You told me that before.
My boss won the 50-50 at the hockey game twice, but he also drops quite a bit of money. But what's really cool though is a guy that I work with bought 50-50s during the World Juniors with two buddies, and they ended up winning the $5.75 million pot, split 3 ways. Yeah,
that's amazing.
The worst thing about that is I was talking to him Friday because he was still working. He's 60, retire.
That seems like the best thing about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at my age, I can't retire off of 7-something million, but at 60 years old, dude,
I feel like you might be able to if you just invest it properly. And well, I say properly, I would have no idea how to invest it, but I feel like you just make your money make money. You know, like I don't know, get into whatever the game that is.
Throw it in GameStop stocks.
Exactly.
When I think invest, I think of Dave's Wings, a big restaurant.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I've had this conversation before. Like, I feel like if I won the lottery, I'd probably stay working. I don't know if I would do exactly what I'm doing now. I think I probably would, honestly. I love my job, but yeah, like I feel like just to keep busy, because it's like, and then like it would be like a random like, hey, it's Tuesday, you want to go to Bahamas and play some golf and fly down there with a private jet? But I guess $1 million might not go far in that sense. My private jet might look more like a scooter, but.
I feel like I would like, again, like, cause I love my job, but I would there's probably just, and I think probably everybody has this, where there's probably just parts of your job where I would be like, not doing that anymore. Like, no, I'd be a lot more like, and like, this is probably the only way that I'd be more like Bob McKenzie, because he's just too much of a legend to compare myself to. But in the way he just kind of has that, like, you know, he's got his Bobby Margaritas, like, alter ego, where in the summer he just kicks up to his cottage and like stops caring about hockey and like
retires every year, comes back, and
exactly, yeah. So like I need to get a persona like that, where I was like, certain times of the year I'd just be like, nah.
It's Bob McKenzie. Bob does what Bob wants.
Yeah.
Where's Corwin today? And he's like, it's a Tuesday. Corwin doesn't come into work on Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. Don't you know that?
Margaritas.
Yeah, you won the World Juniors 50-50, okay?
He has $30,000.
Yeah, I know. Like, yeah, $30,000. It's like,
but with big money, I would quit my job and start my own company in a heartbeat. Heartbeat.
That's smart.
Yeah, and I'd probably invest more into our website too, to try and grow it a bit more.
Yeah, like I'd probably try and just make more videos. Like, I'd build a home studio and stuff like that, and just be like, and so I could just like, it's because obviously, like, especially with COVID, there's a lot of like difficulty in making videos. Like, I'm really the only one that comes to the office to film, but I like it here just because like there's like a big light here and a couple lights here that just like, it makes it really nicely lit. Because there's no one here ever, it stays the exact same, so I can just come in, hit the button, and then record, and that's nice. But like, obviously, like, having a home studio and stuff like that would be way better. And even like, because like Toronto housing prices are insane. So like, I live in like the floor. I just have like the floor of a house, and then so I just feel bad when like I want to stream more video games and all that stuff, but it's like I feel bad just because like I'm like yelling and screaming and like I live like basically like there's somebody downstairs and like I just feel bad and even like my girlfriend where I'm like it's so she can't do anything for 3 hours because I'm sitting there screaming about like the 90th NHL game that I've played that ended in the exact same way as all the other ones. Like it's just. Yeah, so it's not realistic, but if I could have a bunch of money, I would totally make a little studio and just like be able to film stuff way easier.
Just like Corwin just opens Bar Up and it's just his own Bar
Up. Yeah, that's a really bad shot, man, when you think about that, dude. Bar Up.
It's the worst one to do on an ODR, so it's a nightmare shot. Yeah. So also if we're talking Ottawa, it's one thing people don't know about Ottawa is how great the ODR scene is because they're everywhere. They're like sure. It's like Toronto has like they have a couple really nice ones where like because basically the Leafs like go around and they sponsor a bunch of outdoor rinks and they make like synthetic ice but obviously it doesn't get as cold here and then there's just not as many of them. Whereas like because like when I was in Ottawa, I lived like at one point I lived on Heron, like right near Heron and Bank, and then another point I lived over by like Bronson and I don't know if you know like Plymouth Street. It was like so
my little brother lives on the corner of Plymouth and Bronson now.
Oh no way, that's great. Yeah. So like that was my my favorite university house we lived in. We called it Plymouth Rock, and then it's like right by that McDonald's, right? The one right there, which was just obviously very helpful as a university student.
Yeah, for sure.
You're eating all of your meals. You just didn't cook a single thing. It was just solely
100%. That and like pizza pops, and then just is a disaster. But either way, just like wherever I was, there was always like when I lived at Heron and Bank, there's like literally the part of the reason we got that house is because like right next to it was there's like a little park with a outdoor rink, but it's like basically every park has an outdoor rink in Ottawa, which
is, pretty much every 2 blocks you travel, you'll find an ODR, which is so nice, especially this time around because of COVID. There's a limit of people you can have on the ice, but it doesn't take long before you find one that's just empty. So that's nice.
That's amazing. They were not allowed to play hockey on the ODRs in Toronto this year. It's only public skating.
Didn't I watch somebody get arrested for? Like people get arrested for playing hockey on a rink in Toronto. I was pretty sure. I was pretty sure I saw. It was Toronto police. They were arresting like 3 people for trying to play hockey.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Like, I mean, for the rules that are in place. Yeah. But to an extent, there. I mean, if the rink is empty and. Yeah, exactly.
I think Toronto just kind of is hitting a little different after like this summer when they were like, okay, you can't go anywhere inside, and they kept the parks open, and then there was just like, what was I can't remember what park. Yeah, Trinity Bellwoods, and there's just like people like stacked on top of each other, and they're like, okay,
yeah. But it's such a weird thing too, because like I do think so much of it's PR, where like obviously because sometimes they have to shut down places that maybe necessarily aren't the root of the problem, but it's something that affects people's mindset. And it's like, if you think you can go here, you're probably going to be like more frivolous with how you like meet up with your friends and different things like that. So I think they kind of just felt like they had to shut everything to make people think like, oh, I really have to stay inside because there's nothing to do. And which it sucks, but like, yeah, I get it. It's just and obviously the numbers are going down, so that's good.
I wonder if it also deters people from coming in because like Toronto obviously is like such a big urban sprawl. And I feel like with like in the summer, for instance, like a lot of my good friends live downtown and they'd be like, oh, like come up for a weekend. I was like, dude, what am I going to do? Like sit in your apartment? Like we can't go to restaurants. They're not open because we were under the impression that they weren't. And he's like, no, they're open. It's just like, he's like, you can go.
Or even like, obviously like even inside we're open a bunch. Like, cause it was, there was a very weird period from like July to like basically July and August was like this weird time where everybody was like, I guess it's over. And like, like again, like as stupid as it sounds, like we played beer league hockey in that time, which was like, and like whatever, like, I guess you just do what you're allowed to do. But like realistically, it's like it makes sense that they would have had to shut it down again because there were restrictions put in place that seemed like a great idea and realistically there were no outbreaks in it or anything. But again, just in terms of I think people's mentalities and to try and like get people to stay home, I think they have to have less extracurricular stuff like that.
Yeah, I just hope things start getting better. I know here in Ottawa, we're not doing too bad. I think the cases are really low every day, so thankful for that.
Yeah.
But I think we're just all eager to get back to our normal lives. Just to go see a Sens game, I think that would just be the highlight of the past 2 years now. So I'm really excited for that.
I stopped paying attention to the numbers here, man. Honestly, I just got tired of like just the anxious feeling and stuff like that. Like I have lung issues, so for me, like I just don't want to find out what set of statistics I'd fall on if I got COVID-19. So it's to me, I'm like I just stopped paying attention to it. I go to work, I come home, I do groceries. That's it. We don't do anything, right? Like it's too cold and whatever. But yeah, I stopped paying attention to all the numbers and stuff. Man, it really starts to consume you. So
yeah, 100%. But I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean. I saw a funny tweet the other day that was like I was about to say like hopefully they can get a vaccine soon or whatever, but like have you ever seen that image where it's like it's a picture where it zooms into like the coast on it's like almost like a shot from space where it's zooming into of a thing, but it's like an endless loop where it just keeps
yeah. Yep.
It just said it in quotes. When all this is over, it's like that's what it feels like. It's like, oh, it's just never over. It just keeps going. So
it's like the infamous tweet right now that everyone's using, where it's like, "When COVID's over," sounds a lot like when the Toronto Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup. It just keeps going.
Yeah. It's a tough one, but who knows? Hey, maybe both can happen this year.
Yeah.
Oh. I would let that happen for Toronto. That COVID was over.
If you had to trade, that's the trade you'll make.
It would be bad though, because every other Canadian team would be like, "But there's an asterisk. You only played the Canadian division. You didn't have to play the other."
I couldn't care less. Anybody else can say anything they want about it. We won, and that would be all that would matter.
You're like, yeah, but see right here on the cup, it says Toronto Maple Leafs 2021.
Yeah.
So I just want to mention that I'm actually on your website right now, and you guys have like this section called hockey terms. Going through a few of these, there's zebra, and it's obviously referee, also known as stripes, and a picture of Luca. Looks pretty good. But I just want to know, do you ever commit, or do you ever add any words to these personally? I mean, yeah.
If you have any, send it to us and let us know. We want it to just be like an endless supply of as hockey language evolves and everything, and I think it always kind of is. It just have a little glossary there for people that are like, what the hell was that guy saying? And then,
Timothy Stutzel should be on there.
James Stewart. Oh, looks awesome. I love that. It's such a nice touch to the website, and I'm learning a lot. Even though I played hockey all these years, there's a few I don't know.
Well, I guess like because the weird thing is how regional it is. Because like I know there's like a bunch that like one I learned from we were interviewing Max Domi one time, and he told us about rock pile, which like apparently in Western Canada they that's what they call rookies sometimes, which makes no sense to me at all. But
no,
apparently it's a thing. So and I know. Even it's a similar thing where like, cause I know in Ontario, we call it clear tape. And I know like in other parts of Canada, it's like sock tape or what's the other one? There's like another, I forget what the other term for it is. Oh, plastic tape. I think some people call it. And then, which I was just like, what? Like, why?
Yeah, seriously.
But, and then, I keep rambling.
It's made of plastic.
It's made of plastic, and also the part of the reason was because a lot of the guys in the pros don't call it clear tape because they don't use the clear version. They use they have colors for that match their socks, right? So if they have like whatever the Sens probably have like black and red versions of the sock tape. So they would just call it sock tape because it's not clear, or plastic or whatever. But yeah.
Corwin, is there any sort of like fact checking system that goes into this, or could Max Domi easily be like, all right, I'm just gonna mess with these guys and say is a word, and they're like, guys, like
there's definitely
there's a wrong file.
Yeah, we definitely bounce it off a bunch of people, but like I'm sure someone could fool us at some point. So but who knows? Maybe that's the thing. Maybe if we just become the source, then we can just decide what is hockey lingo from then on. So we can just say, hey, it's in the dictionary. You're gonna tell me I'm wrong?
I love it.
All right, sweet. Do you guys want to get into any Sens stuff today, or what are we thinking?
Yeah, well, I got some Sens stuff. Are you good talking Sens stuff?
100%. Let's talk Sens. Yeah. I'll talk every team. We'll talk any team.
Can I start it off though, just by saying something that's happened in the last few days? Derek Stepan actually changed his number from 15 to 21. Although he said he didn't mind when he arrived here. And now apparently he wants to be closer to his family back in Arizona. So if he only plays, 10 games with us, and he went through all this trouble just to change his number for a few games, do you think he'll go down as one of the most hated Ottawa Senators, considering one of our most favorable rookies is number 21, and he just took it away from him for a few games for no reason?
and they just called him up. They just called him up.
Yeah.
So Corey, Logan Brown just got called up.
Yeah.
Okay. And then basically Stepan stripped him of his number.
Yeah, that's definitely rude, but I mean, I don't know. Again, like I don't mind as much the number stuff, because obviously, like you guys were saying before, I think like cool. Then get that other jersey of Logan Brown where you can get that like limited edition number basically, and then until he switches back to 21, I guess. But then. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I doubt you guys would hate him that much. There's for sure people you're going to hate more than that, just because, like, obviously you're still in like a transitional period and like there's less. I guess I just mean there's less expectations for this season. If it was somewhere where
you're trying to say we suck, you're trying to say we suck. You can say it,
but I don't think you suck because like the Canucks suck,
a game on Friday, like a game. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know. Like the only reason I wouldn't say suck is just because like I think back to my favorite times as a fan are always those seasons when there's not as many expectations, and it's just kind of like you feel confident about the direction of the team, and you can kind of just root for like development of players and just be happy that like, oh, this guy's looking way better. Like I love and like kind of just seeing who the future of your team really is going to be. And like I always found that as one of the funnest parts of being a fan, because after that period, it's basically like just stress of like, well, can our core win before they're old? And like and then it's just relentless talk of who we should trade and who should, whatever, instead of just like liking the players that are on your team, which is kind of I think the period you're in now, where you just get to like players, which is the best.
You're saying like before our players have $11 million contracts tied up in like
specifically before they ask for $11 million.
Yeah,
that's the worst part, because like even now, like sorry, and I don't mean to. We're talking Sens. I'm not trying to talk Leafs, but I just mean like because like people. I think there was a time period where people like really like genuinely didn't like Mitch Marner as much, because that whole period of him asking for money really kind of just like, he was for sure a fan favorite, and like obviously he always still was a fan favorite. I'm not saying like people hated him or anything, but like it affects it, right? Like because of the way hockey is, you really do just start to think about like value and how you can afford certain teams or guys, and like does this guy not fit anymore because he gets paid too much, and like obviously it's annoying, and I think that's an annoying part of it. And now I think like I said, just rooting for Brandstrom, and even I think Drake Batherson looks amazing. Like and obviously like Brady Tkachuk is just a monster. Like I love Brady Tkachuk. I think it's funny. Like if you look at any metrics, like he was like my number one guy I wanted in fantasy this year because he's just obviously he hits everyone. He takes a lot of shots and and I just expect I even think he'll still end up scoring a lot more than he currently is. Like I know he's still doing fine, but like what he has like 7 points in 12 games or something like that. But like I think he'll do better than that. And like if you look at any of his metrics for like underlying for like expected goals and things like that, like he's always really near the top of the league. So that's a great person to have on your team moving forward. So
yeah, if he can finish a bit more, I think he can be a really dangerous player for us. I mean, if you go back in time and you look at like the discussion we had at the draft, I think a lot of Sens fans were pretty mad that we took Tkachuk because you got a guy like Zadina who's just purely skill on the board, and that's what we were lacking. Fans wanted that, but now I think if you ask any Sens fan, they'll tell you that Tkachuk is the next the next big up and coming player in this league, and I'm happy we have him on this team, and just the fact that he's a Tkachuk, I think is awesome too. Just those little rats on the ice. I mean,
Brian Burke said it best. There's 31 teams in the NHL right now. Only 2 of them have a Tkachuk. The other 29 wish they can have one of them.
Yeah.
100%.
That was what Dorian said at the draft. He's like you cannot find players like Brady Tkachuk when they drafted him, and I think it's like such a valuable point because like as much as like. I mean, like I do like the Leafs core, and like I think as a fan, like it's natural to want skill. Like you want to watch that flashy player. I was so excited that we drafted James Stutzel because like he's just so so much fun to watch.
The evolution of this nickname.
Evolution just keeps going. He's just so much fun to watch, right? And it's so nice to have those players. But it's so true. And like I think it's funny too when you talk about the contract thing, because I remember like when William Nylander signed his deal, he's probably the most hated guy in Toronto. And like everyone was just like, oh, what a bad contract, what a bad contract. Or at least a lot of my friends were saying this. They're like, they need to move him. And it's like you look at his contract now and he's probably one of the better deals.
Yeah, but he's for sure the best value contract on their team, and like definitely up there, probably like I'd have to look at the numbers, but yeah, like obviously McKinnon and like there's guys like that are just making nothing, but but yeah, like I'm obsessed with William Nylander. I love him, and obviously, but you guys will come to that time. That's coming up for you, and I know you guys have been through it before too. Obviously, not in the endings. I'm assuming you would have wanted. Like, were you guys? How do you guys feel about all the trades from? Obviously, I think the Carlson one worked out great. A
little bit of luck, but yeah, hell yeah, it worked.
Yeah,
out
yeah.
It was good regardless, I think. But
yeah, the Stone one hasn't looked great. Because obviously Brandstrom's been struggling a bit, but he came up recently, right? And it's
looks good.
He's looking good. Yeah.
Yeah. So because I know I saw like a bunch of stuff about how DJ Smith was like didn't want to play him.
Yeah, he wasn't that big of a fan apparently, but
it just seemed weird because like why not? Like give him a shot. Like who cares? Like what's the alternative right now?
Like where's Edmonton?
171 apparently is the alternative.
Yeah. So like why? Who? Like what else could be the problem? But I don't know. Like I said, still it's not like you guys haven't been competitive in games. So you can't really knock that part of it. But the one of the weirdest things for me is, and I would be interested to hear from you guys how you feel about this, because I think God, Leafs fans hated Nikita Zaitsev so much, and he looked pretty good this year. Like from again, like I've only seen like probably 3 Sens games, but then like he looked fine, and his numbers are pretty good. So like I don't.
The problem is we have a really bad defense right now. We really do, but Zaitsev has been solid for Ottawa. I'm not going to say he's been great, but he's been good. He's been a lot better than we thought he was going to be. I think
he better than Cody Ceci
for sure.
Yeah. Jared Cohen was better than Cody Ceci, man.
I don't know about that. Jared Cohen was not good.
That was just me making fun of Ceci. But next year when you have like Sanderson and JBD coming up to the team, I don't know if there's a place for a guy like Zaitsev really. Like he's
Well,
going to
with
be
his
a
contract, he's stuck on our team regardless.
yeah.
He's gonna be there. But hey, if he can play third pairing, that's even
what I
better.
was gonna say. He's going to be at the bottom with probably a guy like JBD to start, right? Just to kind of get JBD's feet wet. So we'll see.
So someone tweeted at me the other day. I had a bit of a remorseful Carlson post because I was just it's hurting to see how bad of a season he's having. And someone responded and said that on DraftKings, Nikita Zaitsev is more expensive than Erik Karlsson. Is just right now.
That's brutal.
That's brutal, but honestly, like with the way that they're both playing right now, I'm not surprised. Like,
did you confirm that though, Brennan?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, DraftKings changes every day, but yeah, it was pretty bonkers. But I mean, like honestly, like Zaitsev for me, like I'm really happy that he's having this good year. When his first year in Toronto, I thought he was great. Like in his rookie year, like I actually was a big fan of him. And then he kind of just like he signed that contract, and then it was just like, okay, sweet, like in this way, and just.
But it's one of those things too, where like I don't really know, but you think a lot of it, like I think we underrate sometimes how much confidence matters for this stuff, and like when I think there was a lot of things that he was confident in doing, but maybe like obviously the his defensive positioning and kind of risk taking and things like that, just maybe they wanted him to do different things, and then I think that just makes him second guess a lot of the other aspects of his game, and maybe he was less comfortable jumping forward and pinching and. But obviously he's a great skater, and like that is one thing that will kind of make up for a lot of other problems in your game, and so he's got that, and that hasn't gone away. So yeah.
Do you think the pressure of playing in Toronto like affects a lot, of players' confidence, and especially being tied down to a contract like him? Do you think maybe he sort of felt the pressure to perform at the level that fans really wanted him to, and maybe here in Ottawa there's not really much of that pressure to go out and be an all-star defenseman?
I think it's definitely a thing that like 100% sometimes people like it's just there's without a doubt the guys see like all the nonsense that's written about them at times, and I think like obviously it just depends on the person. Like because like I think there's people like Matthews, and like I don't think it bothers him at all for what people say about him, and like I obviously I'm picking like from the top of the lineup there, but I think like there's guys that aren't really going to be bothered by it either way, and then there's guys that for sure it would rattle quite a bit, and I think it's more I honestly think it's more coaching, like because I thought of that as more of like a coming to the NHL from the KHL, and like I think there's because like even now we're seeing it with in Toronto, we're seeing it with Mikko Lehtinen, where it's just like he obviously was incredible over there and was like just racking up points constantly, and then when he came over here, Sheldon Keefe was just not really happy with a lot of the aspects of his game, and I think that translated in a lot of the stats that he wasn't getting probably the results that you would expect from him, but he's looked better, and I don't know. It really is player to player there.
Allegedly. So
pardon?
I know allegedly he's getting shopped around. I don't know like what beat writers came up with these theories, but I did see allegedly that he was that teams were inquiring about him. But yeah, it's just such a big transition. And I think like as Sens fans, we've definitely noticed that Zub's looked really good coming in from the KHL. Like he's only played a handful of games, but I think he's been a standout, like at least a top 4D on our team. But yeah, like we definitely have noticed that. Like I think when like with Brandstrom, his game, I think especially just because of his size and like just how he utilizes his skills, has taken him a little while to get more inclined to the North American game. And like, I think that's natural. And I think that's something we need to realize about, even if a player is like 25 or older and like has been playing in the KHL for a while. Like what was the like Nikita Zaitsev that came over, was like super outed. And then who was it on Vegas? Was it like Shipakov or like the guy who played like
Shipachyov,
like see a man like
it's super weird because like it's so funny because like I think what set the precedent there, where I think everybody got too hyped on people for a little while because of Panarin, where like he came over and was just like, oh, he's like top 10 player in the league. And like, so anybody that is really good in Russia will come over and be that good. And then, yeah, because, well, and I think Zaitsev came over maybe like a season or two after Panarin. And so people were like, really like, oh, well, he's like the best defenseman in the KHL. And like Panarin was the best forward. So like, is it going to be equivalent to that? And it's just like, no, but obviously,
you've got Kaprizov nowadays though, really tearing it up for Minnesota.
He's amazing. He's been so fun. But he's stealing your guys' trophy right now, don't you? Duce was supposed to get that Calder this year.
So how do you guys feel about? So like I thought about this when Panarin won the Calder, and like, do you think that it's a bit of an unfair advantage when there's like an 18-year-old going up against a 25-year-old, and it's like the 18-year-old is so close to the same amount of impact as that 25-year-old in that season? Like, do you like? Obviously, Panarin deserved it. Like he ran away with his season. But like, do you feel like in that debate when it's like, okay, this kid's 7 years older. I understand that he's a rookie and it's his first year in the NHL, but like he's so much older. Like, do you think that like that should be into the voting system?
Absolutely. Like I think like he said it really like if it's basic, like if it's last year, if it's Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar, if Cale Makar was 6 years older than Quinn Hughes or something, like then I'd be like, well, look, okay, then maybe I'll pick Quinn Hughes because like he's closer to a real rookie and it's more impressive that he's doing this in this season. Yeah, like I think context matters for sure. It's the same way that like I don't know. I guess it's slightly different, but I don't know. Yes, I do think context matters.
Mm-hmm.
And also when you talk about guys who like there's guys who have gone to the KHL from the NHL and found their games. I don't know if you guys saw recently, like Shane Prince. Like that guy was a drop off in the NHL from Ottawa to New York, but now in the KHL he's been increasingly getting better over the last 3 seasons. And I think it was I can't remember who it was. Somebody on Twitter mentioned like, can you guys see your return? You know, now that he's found his game in the KHL, I'm like, I think it'd be cool to bring him in as like a third line left wing for a team like Ottawa who he's already familiar with. Like, I mean, I think he's got like 44 points in like 22 games or something. Like it's.
Really?
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the exact numbers, but he's been doing good, man. He's been getting better over the last few years.
I remember when the Sens traded him, and I was like, so this was right before I think I started at TSN, and I was writing actually like for an Islanders fan blog, and like I remember everybody just being like, oh my God, like I can't believe they traded Shane Prince for that. Like it felt like a thing that was like it was a really bad trade in some way, but like, yeah, I don't know. It was fine, but just interesting. I feel like there's guys like that a lot that people really will get hyped on that are kind of like the fringe guy that you're going to hope is going to take that kind of like step forward into be a big part of the core of the team. Like obviously, because like you get places like Tampa that ends up getting Braden Point that turns into this like monster on their team after being a second round pick. And like, do you guys have like someone like that for the Senators that you're kind of hoping for? Like I know people have really liked how Nick Paul's looked this season. Like I don't know. Do you guys have like an under the radar person that you think could actually be a big part of the core?
Vitaliy Aberbaugh for me, 100%. I don't know if you've seen any of his game, Corwin, but he might have some of the best hands outside of the NHL. He came over in the Duchesne trade from Columbus, and this kid, he's small, so I think like the chance of him doing well in the NHL is like he's up against a lot of barriers, but if he can do it, he could be so much fun to watch. Personally.
Well, there's also Drake Batherson being drafted in the 4th round, sort of like a similar situation to Braden Point, I guess, being drafted late. Obviously won the MVP at the World Juniors. And I think for a lot of Sens fans, like they rate him as like an A prospect, not really a prospect or rookie anymore, but still one of those guys I think who's going to, a lot of Sens fans actually think he'll be like a Mark Stone type of guy for us. I mean, he lays the body. He's really more defensive than you'd think. So for me, that's a guy I'm really hyped for. Jake Bathson.
I mean, I gotta say, if I actually like, again, he was one person that from the games I've watched, like I said before, I think he's looked great this year. If he's a Mark Stone type of guy, I mean, that's a dream, right? Because like Mark Stone's incredible, but
oh yeah,
I'm sure I don't have to tell you guys, but yeah, I mean, if that happens.
I gotta correct my Shane. I gotta correct my Shane Prince thing. It's 46 points in 45 games, or 45 points in 46 games. My bad. But I agree. I think Bathson. I think Ottawa looks at him as a really big star in the future, and I think most people around the NHL or most teams or fans don't really see him the same way. They probably just think he's a decent player, but I think he's just underrated around the league. And give him 2 years, and that kid's going to be somebody that you don't want to mess with.
Well, Shane Pinto's another one too, who was like, okay, yeah, he was the first pick of the second round, but when he was chosen, a lot of people were like, Arthur Kaliev's there, and there was a lot of guys that dropped that they didn't understand why Ottawa wasn't, and like Pinto could easily
win the Hobie Baker this year.
I think he'll win the Hobie Baker this year.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely going to. He's going to.
Well, he's one of like there's been it's such a weird year because there's so many teams that like haven't played games. Like Angus Crookshank had a 4-goal game last night, but they've only played like 11 games. But yeah, so it's like I think that like just in like how good he is in the face-off circle, like he's won like over 60% of his draws this year, if I'm not wrong. So I think like he's been one that like another guy who like I would be really upset, I think, if he doesn't turn into at least a second line center. Like I think like at this point, like I think that's like the minimum. Like I think he's going to be really, really special. And like, again, it's hard because it's like you're putting expectations on this kid who's never played an AHL or NHL game in his life. But like, I truly just think that this sky's the limit. He's another guy who's a late bloomer. And
so I like that. And so, okay. So can I ask you guys this? What would be your, like, if everything works out in Ottawa's, like in the best way for Ottawa, what is their lineup in 2 years?
Okay, so for centers, I go
go by line. What's your first line?
Shane Wright.
Things aren't right the next couple of years, but
yeah.
Well, okay, wait. What did I don't know if I saw, was this guy in your guys' notes or that like they were talking about delaying the draft?
Yeah.
It's like I feel like that's an awful idea. Like I don't know if you guys feel differently, but like I know people are kind of saying that like this year there's not a lot of like star prospects, and obviously it's going to be confusing because they can't really see them like play much this year, which is going to throw off I think some of the scouting and things like that. But like I don't know. I just don't see how that works out in anyone. Like
you can't take Christmas away from me, man, and give me 2 Christmases next year.
So as a fan, like I do want to see a draft, but apparently GMs are like for it. Like there more GMs are for it than against it at this point. That's at least what Darren Dreger reported.
Yeah,
and I honestly like I can 100% see why it would make sense, and I agree with it. And the reason for that is you look at draft risers in the last year. So like Tim Stützle going into last season was not a top 10 ranked prospect. And like, I mean, a little bias here, but he could have been the best pick out of the 2020 draft at this point, or like at least like he's justified in that top 3. Yeah. And I think like just because that 18-year-old year is so crucial for development, and there's so many players that aren't even getting that chance to develop. Like you look at
the OHL's not really. I don't think the OHL's playing right now, right? So
as a whole, really. And then it's like, okay, like yeah, like some teams are in other places, but then like their seasons are being postponed and things like that. And it's like that stuff is so crucial for development that it's like I just think that like I think it's gonna happen. Like I honestly do think it'll happen. And my reasoning for it is that, like, I just think that, like, they don't have enough to go on these players. And I think that I think that enough of the GMs will agree with that and agree that it's, like, that critical that's why it would get pushed back, in my opinion. But again, that's just me. And I totally see where you guys are coming from. As a fan, draft day is my favorite day of the year. So I get it, but.
Well, I actually raised the point, though. If we can get the first overall pick for the 2021 draft and we have some way, somehow we get the first overall pick of the 22 draft, can you imagine the Sens picking first overall the first time in ages and doing it again the next day. I mean, that would just be funny, man. And I don't know, there might be some teams who are willing to trade, the 2022 first overall for the 2021 first overall, depending on who they value more. I mean, so many things could be different, right? It'll be cool to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, like basically, I guess it depends on how they do it. Because if they do it where it's the exact same order as the end of this year, but they just push the actual date to later, then like it makes sense. Especially like it's funny because I feel like if I was in the 15 to 30, or I guess it should be like 16 to 31 range, I would be like, no, keep it the same. And then if I was like 1 to 15, I'm like, yeah, give me more time to see these players. Because like obviously, if you can make the draft flukier, you're probably more likely to get a random great player later in the draft. But yeah, so like I don't know. I think it makes sense if you're gonna. If as long as they do it like that, basically, because I think that's the only way, really, because as long as they're not trying to like combine the drafts, you know what I mean, like where it's like, okay, well, yeah, but
I think at the end of the day, though, the worst thing is nobody who's supposed to get the first overall pick is going to get the first overall pick, anyways. So.
The Rangers,
like, come on!
I know the Leafs were supposed to get that. It was
the ball. Right there.
Yeah,
it was,
I know.
And then it got knocked out by the Rangers. If the Leafs had won that, I'm not even kidding. I probably would have quit and started watching baseball and no more hockey. I'd be like, I'm done with hockey.
I almost never tweet, and like I don't know. I just don't tweet much because I'm just like, who cares? But that's like one of the only things I've tweeted in recently, and I think it has like 4,000 retweets because it's just misery. And then because well, I don't know. Obviously, we're doing fine. It's not a massive issue, but it's so close. And then I don't know if again I'm getting too much into Leaf stuff now, but I don't know if you guys remember this, but when Connor McDavid got drafted, it was one of those stupid things where it was like, because of the order they take the balls out in, it like changes the odds for teams as they go through. And when the last ball was being taken, the Leafs technically had the best odds to get the first overall pick based on what had already been drawn.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And then
that's deep, man. That's really deep.
I know. And so whatever, we got Matthews. So, like as long as you win one lottery in your rebuild, I think you should be happy, right? So this is your year, guys.
As a Leafs fan, though, would you, and be honest, 100% honest, would you not have rather have had Connor McDavid over Matthews?
Oh, obviously. What? Yeah. There's no question. So
I know.
Weirdly enough, to be fair, I like. I know, so because I'll hit on the argument that you're talking about, because the whole thing is that Austin Matthews is like, at how he is currently trending is as the greatest goal scorer of his generation. He's just the amount that he scores at even strength is just no one else is even close. And I think it's something I saw a stat recently where I think it's like even strength goals since 2016-17, like that season. And I think he has like 115, and the next closest is like 98 or something like that. Wow. And it's like, and then from there, it's like all the separations by like single goals. It's like 98, 97, 96, 97. And it's like, so it's in that sense, he's really on a tier of his own level. And I do think it's funny because like, I guess you would have said Matthews' like defensive tendencies were probably a little better than McDavid's recently, but McDavid's looked a lot better at that recently. And either way, all I'm saying is I think that's where the argument came from, but no, like McDavid is just, like, if you watch him play, and he's a freak. Like he's just it's the skating. The skating is just on a different level than anyone else in the league. And well, yeah, because obviously he's got really great hands and everything too. But I guess it's more because like I don't think his hands are necessarily better than like Austin Matthews or some of the other like best stick handlers in the league. But the whole thing is that he can do the same stuff, but like whatever, like just like one notch faster, where it's like he's doing the same things, but he's also just blowing by any defenseman in the entire league at any moment. And the ability to change speeds, I think, is a big thing too, where he's really developed that thing where he can kind of like he kind of gets defensemen to turn their hips because they think he's going to blow by them, and then he cuts inside and just roofs it, and it's like it's unfair. But yeah,
there was a thing last season where he literally skated through the entire Calgary team and scored. And people were like, "So who do you think would win in a race? Flash on ice or Connor McDavid with his skates on ice?" And everyone's like, "Connor McDavid in a heartbeat."
Yeah.
The thing that my mind though is like you said, Corwin, like with the stopping, because like when he first came into the NHL, like like his first injury, and it happened like within the first few games, and I honestly was like, man, like this kid's speed is gonna kill him, like because
Did you see last night? He like slammed into Jacob Markstrom when.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. It's like with how refs call the game, it's out of control really at times because he's going so fast, and then players are just kind of like, and they just like throw a stick out. Like he got a penalty when someone basically tripped him into the goalie and he hammered the goalie, and it's like just because he's going so fast that like. If at that speed, if you just hack someone in the skate, they'll probably fall. Like, especially if he's leaning so much of his weight trying to protect the puck. And it's just, it's dangerous. I think you're absolutely right there. I don't know.
I think it's the wrong way though. Like that's what I was gonna say is that like I think like when he first came out, like he had his speed, but kind of like what you were saying with like the stopping, I think he's becoming more like self-aware of like, okay, like I can be explosive now, or like there's not enough room for me to. And I think he has that ability to be able to see lanes like the way like a running back would in the NFL. Like he's just so quick at like, okay, like this is open. I can maneuver this way and be able to stop. And like he's gotten a lot more control. So like, but yeah, there was a crazy stat last year where it showed like the like where literally refs were like not calling things on people who were defending Connor McDavid because it was like they wouldn't be able to, because it was like they almost give it a bit of like
he'd be drawing penalties like every rush. It's just that, but I personally think like I don't care. Like, give him the penalty. What do you mean? Like, you can't just be like, "Oh, it's unfair. He's too good." Like,
exactly.
He is that good. You just said it, so then he deserves.
And like last year would have been cool because they had the best power play in the league, right, by a mile. So imagine if they would have called even half the stuff that they didn't call, and they would have scored more, man. Like last year would have been, they could have set a record last year, I think, if they would have gotten a lot of those calls, man.
Man, the Austin Matthews move too, like it's crazy because like this year, like his game just keeps developing, like and I do think he's starting to become into that conversation of like I think he's already there with the McDavid, Draisaitl and McKinnon argument, because like especially at this point, like what he has 10 goals now, is he not leading the league? And
he's leading the league in goals, and he missed like I think 3 games or 2 games, and like
Marner and him, like I loved Marner and Tavares together, but like the way that Marner can find Matthews is insane. Like it's been like like their chemistry has just been insane, and Matthews just like has that ability to move around guys too. I'm sure you're really happy, just like with where his game's at and like how.
I love him. He's for sure like as much as I'd often say like William Nylander is my favorite player, but I feel like I say that just because like I'm like a loser that doesn't want to have like the most popular opinion, because like I don't know. So like obviously, Austin Matthews is the best, and like I like watching him the most. But like somebody asked me my favorite player, I don't want to say Austin Matthews because it feels too obvious. But but he like just his stick handling and the way he protects the puck and kind of just the one of the coolest things, they showed it a lot last night in the game, is just he has really, really quick hands around the net, and it's his decision making for how he scores is very cool, where like he shoots the puck along the ice a lot, which is just like a unique thing that does, where
his second goal last night was insane.
Yeah, the 5-hole one where he does that a lot, because he's talked about it, where he said like, I used to shoot like top corner all the time, and then like I noticed goalies were just kind of protecting that more, so now I mix it up, and I'll be like, he'll come on rushes and just shoot the puck along the ice, and it just goes in because they're like
McDavid does that a lot too.
Absolutely.
5-hole. I mean,
so I think just having that variety, and I think it just makes your goals more interesting, and it makes goalies look foolish a little bit. But okay, wait, I got way too into Leafs there. We were about to say what in 2 years, what do you want your lineups to be for the Senators? Your dream lineup, if you're like, all these players developed exactly how I wanted them to. They've turned into this style of player, and this is why I want, like, this is our first line, the second line, blah, blah, blah.
Okay,
Brennan,
so Brennan,
Nick,
do the
you go first.
forwards. Okay. Brennan, you do the forwards. I could either do defense or goalies, and Dave, you get whatever else.
No. Let's all pick our top six. Our top six.
Yeah,
Everybody.
Oh, okay. Top six.
Yeah, you don't need bottom six. You can just fill those guys out with whatever.
All right.
Are you going first, Nick?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
So I've got Tkachuk, Stützle in the middle. So wait, I guess we're not counting like future potential draft picks, right? Let's just leave that out.
What do you want? What do you want to see?
Wait, but you just said Stützle as a center?
Yeah, he's a center. He's naturally a center.
Okay,
For sure.
Interesting.
Oh man, he reads the ice so well to not be a center. I mean, he's good on the wing. Anyway, so I got Tkachuk on the left. I got Stützle in the center and Bathson on the right. And then second line, I would probably have Formanton because of his speed. I would have Pinto in the middle because of his two-way game and his face-off abilities. And then on the right, I'd still have Dadonov. I think he's going to turn it around. Like, I know he's getting older, but just to have an older guy on that line, I think would be beneficial for guys like Pinto and Formanton who are still early in development. But that's just me. So for the forwards, yeah.
So for me, it's kind of funny. Like I think that the future of the Sens, I think that they could really kind of mimic what Calgary did, where they have like Goudreau and Matthew like stacked like that. So for me, my forwards would look like, I would love to have a Timmy Stützle, a Shane Pinto, and then like Drake Batherson line. I think that line would really do well and like flourish, and like they would be able to move the puck well. Pinto is going to be a great face-off guy, and then Stützle can drive all the play on that line. And then the other, like, it would be like a 1A and a 1B. And then my one would be Brady with Norris, because they're best buds and you got to keep them together. And I think that they complement each other well. And then on that right side, like, I don't know if Formanton would be able to play on that right side, but I think that he would be a really good fit on that line because he has that bit of grittiness too, but he's also like the fastest kid alive, aside from Connor McDavid maybe. But like, so like, just I think that would be such a good balance if everything worked out. I would also opt to have Colin White on that right-hand side on that second line. If he can continue to find his game like he has been, I think that he could be a good fit there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Chucky, Stützle, Bath, and then I would probably go. Oh man, it's tough. It's really tough because you got so many guys that can play on the second line, right? You got like Pinto can be there, maybe even Norris. Maybe you could put Norris on a wing. Aberbaugh could play up there. I think he's gonna be really good too. It's just it's tough for me, man. I mean, first line I can picture it 100%. It would be Tkachuk, Stützle, and then Batherson. But yeah, I'd probably have to say, well, it's tough though. Like, how do you pick Norris or Pinto on the second? Like, Norris is doing so good, and given the rest of the season, like, he's not a third line center, but neither is Pinto. Pinto might start there next year, but I don't know. I can't. No,
like you can't separate the Chuck Norris line either.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, but
just,
I tap out of giving you a second line. I can't do it.
Fair enough.
I tap out.
And then D, I think I honestly can see Sanderson shifting to the right side, even though he's a left shot. Like he played on the right side at the U.S. National Development Program. He's playing on the right side. He was practicing on the right side, playing with Clubbin actually at Nodak.
I think just I'm throwing this out there. From Toronto media, I think that has been blown way out of proportion because Mike Babcock really liked to have a right side and a left side thing. Yeah. Where like it happens all the time in the league. Like I don't know when it became this thing where like guys that are left-handed can't play on the right side because it's like if you look, like Heiskanen is right-handed or left-handed defenseman that plays on the right side. There's like Samuel Girard does that a lot in Colorado. Yeah. Nate Schmidt did it all the time in Vegas, and like TJ Brody does it. Like there's people all over the league that do that.
Yeah,
so I don't know where this. Like I get what you mean in terms of.
I think it's a matter of how guys have been trained their whole life, how they've been playing their whole life, right?
For sure.
Like some guys could, like, for example, like JBD or Sanderson, Shabbat. If you give them enough practice time, I guarantee you they could play on any side. Doesn't matter which side. The good guys will naturally find a way to be good on. Doesn't matter which side.
Yeah. Eric Brandstrom's played his whole career on the right side. He's a left-handed shot, and then they basically like DJ Smith, maybe because he was raised under Mike Babcock or whatever it might be, essentially was like, no, you need to learn how to play on the left-hand side. And like, he's been good. Like he has looked good, but I do think that it's like, okay, well, if that's what he's natural with and he's been able to do as well as he has on other levels, why not give him a shot? Especially because last year when they called him up, he maybe put up 5 points in 29 games playing on that left-hand side, and just like, it changes everything for him. So like, I think like if you're accustomed to it, why not give him a chance? So I think that either him or Sanderson in the future will be on the right side. Like, I think that like our right side just isn't strong enough to complement who we have on the left side. I like, because either Sanderson, so it's like, for me, the top four are going to be Shabbat, Bernard Docker, Sanderson, and Brandstrom. But if that Sanderson Brandstrom pair play together, I think that would be incredible. But one of them is going to have to shift to the right side. So, or even like maybe Bernard Docker and Sanderson, and then move Brandstrom up. But that would be a liability to have Brandstrom and Shabbat playing together.
But yeah, boys, that's probably a wrap, man. We've been on this for a good hour, 25 minutes. We could probably do this right up until kickoff of the Super Bowl. But yeah, man, unfortunately, I got to go be a dad. I think Nick's got to get to work.
Yeah,
Corwin, Corwin, I don't know what you're going to go do before the game, but I'm assuming it's going to be fun and important.
Probably play video games and record them. I got to do this. I do this like franchise mode thing, and people keep getting mad at me for not doing the videos. So I got
a very important commitment.
I know. Well, like legitimately, all the videos I do now, all the comments are, "Where's franchise mode?" And I'm like, I'm gonna do it. It takes a while, so I gotta go.
It's hard.
And Cord, honestly, man, if ever you're bored one day, dude, and you're like, I just want to talk hockey to somebody, DM me, man. I will record and we can talk, and I will throw it on, man. You're always welcome. You're a fun guest to have on, dude. So thanks for taking that time, man.
Hey, wait, I've one trivia for you guys before we go. Okay.
Oh, I didn't see this coming. Let's do it.
Okay. What first overall pick has the lowest? So among first overall picks, who has the lowest points per game of all time?
Percy Pietro.
That one doesn't count. No goal. That's a good answer. You're right.
Is it not Laffy right now?
Oh, true. Okay, and now you're getting all these things that are ruining the trivia. Okay, not counting people from this year. So let's say, like, in terms of starting in whatever in 20.
Is it Patrick Stefan, or maybe not?
No.
I feel like he gets hated on a lot, but he wasn't actually that bad.
Are we saying forwards only or D2? Forwards only or D2?
Everybody.
Okay.
Except Chris Phillips. Chris Phillips couldn't have had a really good.
It's Chris Phillips.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's a good one, man. That was a good one.
He's just, but it makes sense because he played like 1 million games and then really didn't get that many points. So
Alexander, it's points per game though. That's
yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Scored on his own net one time. All right.
Well, thanks for coming on, Cora, man. It was an absolute blast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and if you ever want to come back, honestly, feel free to let us know, because we would love to do this again. And yeah, good luck with everything moving forward, and enjoy the Super Bowl tonight. I hope whatever you eat's great, and you have the choice of guacamole, but you don't have to eat it.
Yeah. I'm just not that into it. And I hope for you guys, I hope the podcast goes really well. I hope you get all those lines that you wanted. And third, I hope the arena moves downtown. So those are my 3 hopes.
For anybody watching and listening, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like our videos. Thanks, guys.